بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه الحمد لله الذي أول بلا أول كان قبله والآخر بلا آخر يكون بعده والحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا العبد المؤيد والرسول المسدد المحمود الأحمد حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. عباد الله أوصيكم بتقوى الله وإطاعة أمره. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في محكم كتابه الكريم من بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وإنكم إلينا لا ترجعون. صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has advised us, you as believers, to come to Salatul Jum'ah, to hear about what's happening in our ummah and what is it that we are supposed to do in connection to the difficulties that has been given to us by varieties of the ways that it is created by the others, but we are blamed for. Of course, we know that there is a responsibility for all of us. And that responsibility that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving it to us, it is in Surah Mu'minun, ayah 115, that أَفَحَسِبْتُمْ أَنَّمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ عَبَثًا. Do you think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had created us for no reason, for wastefulness? And then, وَإِنَّكُمْ إِلَيْنَا لَا تُرْجَعُونَ. You are not going to come back to us, to me, to the creator of us. Don't we think that a day is going to come that the folder of us will be closed down? That the time that we are living, every faculty of us will be all wrapped up in a folder. And then we will be taken down to our Creator on the day that we are supposed to answer all of the problems that we have created, all of the lies that we have made, all the fabrications that we fed other people. Don't we think that a day shall come for each and every one of us? We know it for sure, that we will go to Him anyway. And at the same time, do we think that we are created for no reason? For abatha? At all, nothing that's going to happen to us? What's the difference between me and the trees and the animals? What is it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking me that I should do it, but the trees and the animals have not been asked to do that, as they are 100% obedient to the law of Allah anyway? There is no such a thing as I may want to. There is no such a thing as ikhtiyar, a choice with the animals and the trees. They will follow their instinct, their nature, the way that they are made 100%, without making a choice. If the weather wants to get warm, the earth will become warm, the trees will bloom. There is no such a thing as maybe this year I will change my mind, next year I will come. But we as a human being have been created with a choice. And that choice is giving us the guidelines of living this life and then go to the life of hereafter. Once you go to the life of hereafter, then whatever that we have planted in this life will be seen in the life of hereafter. Ad-dunya mazra'atul akhirah. This dunya is nothing but plantation for the life of hereafter. When we were created, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was looking for a power, a human being, a creature, something that He recognizes that he has a responsibility. He recognizes that he is not left with no reason. And then he finds his reason and returns himself to the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created him, that individual. We have ahadith and we have ayah of the Quran. Surah 33, Surah Al-Ahzab, ayah 72. Allah subhanahu first introduces this way. إِنَّا أَرَدْنَا الْأَمَانَةَ عَلَى السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَالْجِبَالِ فَأَبَيْنَ أَنْ يَحْمِلْنَهَا وَأَشْفَقْنَ مِنْهَا وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانُ. We have rendered the amana, the trust, to the firmament, to the earth and the mountain. They were scared. They couldn't bear that responsibility of amana, the trust. They couldn't do that. But who did it? وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانُ. We as an insan, we carried that amana. What is that amana? What is that trust that we are carrying? The amana that I recognize, Ya Allah, whatever that I have, I don't have it. You gave it to me. Whatever that I am living on, it is yours. Anything that I look in my surrounding, it is nothing but you. Then who am I, if not the amana in this life, in the short life, and this amana should be turned to him as my owner a day that is going to come. وَحَمَلَهَا الْإِنسَانُ. We carried that responsibility. We say, إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Allah, I know I belong to you. I know I am from the power of yours in this land. Therefore, if I'm honest enough, I will return this amana completely to you the way that you want me to be. To you that we want to be. How do I return that amana to you? That it is exactly what you want it to be. Then the Quran comes as the law of amana, the law of the trust. How you return your trust yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that it starts with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and finishes with the Jinn and Ins. Completes with that. So between me, us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is a hablullah. There is a connection that I have to connect myself to that habl and return me to him in the way that he wants. Then we go to a concept of what should I do? The promise that we made to Allah at the beginning, as we were created, was that أَلَمْ أَعْهَدْ إِلَيْكُمْ يَا بَنِي آدَمَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا الشَّيْطَانَ إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ وَأَنِ اعْبُدُونِي هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. Didn't he say that? Didn't you make the promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the beginning of the creation? That I will not become I do not make the ibadah of shaitan. I will not build the path and the direction towards shaitan. You probably know the word of ibadah is positive and negative. Abid could do the ibadah to shaitan, could be ibadah to Rahman, both together. Didn't you make a promise that you will not make the ibadah of shaitan? You make the ibadah of me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a sirat al-mustaqim, the straight path. The path of stability as istiqamah comes from it. Isn't that the path that you're supposed to be? And then, unfortunately, we go against our promises. Some of us stay with it. Those that they stay with it, they are the one that they are felicit in the life of hereafter as they meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In other words, the folder that is going to be closed down, and it will be sent with me in my grave, a day shall come. The folders opened up. Me versus the Quran. اقرأ كتابك كفى بنفسك اليوم حسيبا. Go ahead and read your book. It's enough for your own self to be the judge of yourself. I will be the judge of me on the Yawm al-Haq. A day that the reality shows. Was I made to follow you, or was I made to follow beside you? No, at the beginning, La ilaha. No ilaha is going to be in your life except Allah. No other deity is supposed to be your guider except Allah. And then I come up to the difficulties of my life today. We will see when we make a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will see that there is three kinds of promises that we make to Allah subhanahu. The first promise is that I make ahd to Allah subhanahu. Ana abudullah. My promise to Allah first The second one, my promise to the people, and the third promise is to myself, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ana abudullah. How would I go to you in my ibadah, in my presenting myself versus the rest of the creation? So that is with you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we read such a beautiful ways that I would like to bring it to your attention, that when we read in our dua books, Ilahi kafa bi izzan an akuna laka abda wa kafa bi fakhran an takuna li rabba anta kama uhib waj'alni kama tuhib. Ya Allah, such a great blessing is on me that you are my Lord, that you are my teacher. Allahu Rabbuna. My tarbiyah is based on you, the Holy Quran. And such a pride that I have for myself, that you are my teacher, that you are my Rabb, that you are the one that you give me the guidelines, what to do in my difficulties, what to do at the time that I need you. You are telling me. Anta kama uhib. You are the one that I love and I want to follow. Make me the one that you want me to be. Anta kama uhib waj'alni kama tuhib. You are exactly what I want. Make me to be what you want me to be. That is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first. Make me what you want me to be. What I want to be is exactly follow the Holy Quran according to the way it is. What you want me to be is to follow the guidelines of the Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to bring me into the life that it is pleasing to you. So in the life of hereafter, I will be granted what I am supposed to be granted. I recognize that, as Imam Ali alayhi salam, the way that he put it, man arafa nafsah faqad arafa rabbah. Anyone that he recognizes himself, he recognizes his Lord. Sometimes the science, or of course the scientific discoveries that you are talking about, they said there are thousands of miles of the veins that they are in our bodies. They are circulating all over. In other words, it's a huge factory that it is connecting me together for varieties of the ways. And if I recognize how am I made, who made me, I know that there is a maker of me, that for all of my lifestyle, he has put a guidelines for me. And that guideline is my way up to him anyway. Recognize me, then I recognize who is my Lord. The second thing is that I have to make a decision and to make my covenant with people. Ahd of the people is whatever that I have to do, ufu bil uqud. Render your covenants. It is a covenant, me and my taxi driver that brought you here, me and my business partners that I have a business with, me, us, and our spouse that we are married with each other, we and our children versus us. Then there is this ahd that we have. All of that is written in Risalatul Huquq of the fourth Ala Muhammad, Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam, as we have many copies of that one available here. Then he says, in varieties of the ways, there are some maybe loopholes into the covenant that you have with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those loopholes are what? As it says, of course, in the covenants that you have with your spouse, make sure that you say وَعَلَى كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَسُنَّةِ رَسُولِهِ وَمِنْهَاجِ الْأَئِمَّةِ الْمَعْصُومِينَ مِنْ آلِهِ. I am marrying you. Let the book of Allah be between us. Let the sunnah of our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam be with us. And if that is with us, then there is no problem, no trouble, no difficulties. But if that is missing, that means somebody is going away from the contract that we have, and difficulties will be coming. The other part, of course, that we have is do not trust the one that he does not have the deen, and then you marry them or you go to the contract with. لا تثقن بعهد من لا دين له. There is no thiqa, there is no trust with someone that doesn't have a religion, that doesn't have a deen. If he is not trustworthy with Allah, for sure he will not be trustworthy with your partners or your spouse. He won't be. Therefore, do not trust the one that he does not have any of the concept of deen in his life, Quran in his life. Doing according to the Quran. That is what we are supposed to do. And finally, the last one is that I make the ahd or a covenant with myself. What is your covenant with yourself that you have? I come to recognize that Allah, I am your property. I cannot, there is no way that I can get away from your kingship. There is no way that I can get away from your heaven above. I have to be under the control of your heaven. And if I am that part, and you created me, therefore tell me what should I do. Based on that, I do not exist. I become us. And in that form, when I say I, go ahead and do not eat what you are not supposed to eat. Do not drink what you are not supposed to drink. Do not do what you are not supposed to do, because you don't belong to yourself. You belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That covenant brings me to the line that I have to go ahead and render me to you, me to the people, and me to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Remember, the man came and he says, I have done something wrong with the people and I would like to ask for forgiveness from you. What should I do, Ya Rasulullah? He says, well, on the first part of, if you have done something to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you didn't do it for your salat, may Allah forgive you. But if you have done something wrong to the people, go to that individual. If you owe money to somebody, you cannot say, forgive me, Ya Allah. Go pay him the money. If you have hurt somebody, don't say, Ya Allah, forgive me, I hurt him. Go ahead and apologize from him. Make it up. Tubu wa aslihu. Repent, rebuild. Correct yourself. And correction is the path that we are supposed to move in direction of continuously betterment of our life. Our life will become better if we live together in a peace and harmony that we are supposed to. Last week that I was giving a lecture to one of the universities that is close by here, one of the students is asking, if you're talking about Islam that is so peaceful and so nice, then what is it? What is it that there are so much problems in the Muslim land? What is it that you are going to answer them? Did we make the problem, or those that they call themselves Muslims made the problem? Are we the one, the Holy Quran? As we talk about these issues, we say we are talking about the Holy Quran as a law book, the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a way of Islam. Don't say individual. Say there is nothing wrong in Quran, nor there is nothing at all wrong in the creation of the whole heaven and earth, that kullun lahu raki'un. Every being on the heaven and earth is making ruku, they obey to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Therefore, there is nothing that they do against Islam. It is the Muslims that there are problems. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, help us to be what He wants us to be, rather than what we want to be, inshallah ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wa inshallah antum yu'minuna bi inshallah. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه. الحمد لله القاسم الجبار المبير الظالمين مدرك الهاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موضع حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وأمورها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم. عباد الله اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as taqwa is al-khawf min al-jalil bal-amal bil-tanzil al-rida bil-qalil wal-isti'dad li-yawm al-rahil. Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah, I know that you are hearing us, you are watching us. I have a fear if I say anything, I'm in your presence. Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah, I want to act according to what Quran is telling me. I read the Quran, I will understand the Quran, and inshallah I will be acting upon the Quran. Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah, I know that I may not have what everybody else has. But whatever that you have given me, I'm thankful to it. And I will not be this unhappy on what I own. Ya Rabbi, Ya Allah, make me to be the one that I'm ready and my suitcases are wrapped up and packages is all packed up for the day that I have to cross the bridge to go to the life of hereafter. If I have these 4 categories on me, then I am muttaqi. Taqwa is a part of me. Allah subhanahu in the Holy Quran mentions that قَدْ بَدَتِ الْبَغْضَاءُ مِنْ أَفْوَاهِهِمْ وَمَا تُخْفِي صُدُورِهِمْ أَكْبَرُ. The hatred and dislike is coming out of their words, the kuffar. But what is in their heart is much greater than what comes out of their words. What is happening? We know that various events has taken place last week in our ummah and in the United States also. The first issue was that we know there was a powerful earthquake that it came in the area of Ahwaz, and we know that, of course, in the area of Balochistan area. And then we know that it was 7.7 powerful earthquake. And then as soon as this happened, I listened to the media and noticed that they are saying that the government of Iran says hundreds, if not thousands, are being killed. I immediately went to our stations, and I noticed even though the magnitude has been 7.7, but there was no killing, nothing, nobody died. Well, what is it that they want to say that? And then probably they said billions and billions of dollars of this and that. Well, we know that when they hear 7.7 magnitude has been shaking Iran, they become happy. Why is it? I can hear you. Are they happy or not happy? I say they are happy. Why? Because the hatred is coming out of their words. I see it I heard it from the TV stations. But what is in their heart is much greater than that. At the same time, if anything that is happening in the world, then they want to go ahead and blame that on the Muslims. In Boston, you probably know what happened in marathons. Okay. Then they were looking, and we knew finally it's going to come to Muslims anyway. Now they came to 2 young men. You probably know the news. 2 young men. They are brothers. They came from Russia to here. 10 years ago, this young man is about 19 years old. 10 years ago, he was 9 years old. Then he came here. He went to Boston University. And some of them had a scholarship and this and that and all of that. Now he has done it. That is what they are saying. We don't know. Allahu Alam. That is what I'm telling you from the news. First of all, if it is a reality that they have been here for 10 years, therefore, they didn't learn none of those things from back home. Therefore, accepted that they are the homegrown terrorism. They are not from back there. 10 years they have studied here. 10 years they were in your colleges. 10 years they studied amongst the people. If they haven't learned within 10 years, why don't we blame ourselves? Why don't we say we did not teach them the right things? Why didn't our government did not introduce the things that is the reality and the truth, so they will change their minds? That's one. On the other hand, when we see that this is happening now, we have to say, how do we know? Isn't that the same story of probably of bin Laden, that he was such a criminal, such and this and that and that. Finally, you took him and dumped him into the bottom of the sea. Or why don't you go ahead and bring him and put him into the, let the people know that he is the one that is a criminal. On the other hand, why are you tagging them? Maybe they are Muslims. If they're Russians, if they're Chechens, have you noticed, I mean, is it something that you talk about the Christians and the Jews and the other religions also? Is it only they are probably Muslims? So what is it that you dislike about Islam so much? What is it that our group that you are here are the best citizen of the world and the earth? Without paying you a penny, you are doing so much good work for this land. You're depriving the people from not stealing, not lying, not drinking, not doing bad things. Isn't that what you are doing? Is anybody paying you? Why don't they want us to be the right citizens in this land? That we are the best of the citizens, that I can promise you. The second thing is, since the time is up, and we cannot talk too much about these issues, is the situation that it happened very close to Waco, Texas. Most of you remember what happened to David Koresh. David Koresh was a man that he was totally Christian. He was saying, let us live according to the law of Jesus. He was promoting his church to be exactly what Jesus wants us to be. Exactly on the anniversary of 18th of April of 1993, that 50 days they have been under siege in their church, and 70 men, women and children, a lot of children, was set on fire in that church, and all of them died. Exactly on the anniversary, these Waco issues had taken place. Are you blaming on the Muslims? Or are you going to come that these are so-called David Koresh terrorist groups? But you won't talk about them. But what about the Muslims? Do you want to make the people, the Muslims, to be scared not to come to the masajid? No, I believe La ilaha illallah. The law of Allah is above all laws. I have accepted that, and I made that covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As you said, Alam ahid alaykum ya bani Adam Allah ta'budu shaytan? Yes, I did. Shaitan is making you fearful. Shaitan is making the people of Boston today, don't come out of your houses, nobody should be, and the streets should be empty, and all of these things is happening. What is that huge fear for? That it is what Muslims are creating for us. We read between the lines. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is more aware about what's going on. We hope soon the truth is going to show up, and those that they are hateful to Islam and the Muslims, they will learn their lesson, that inshallah, no, we are the best citizen of the earth, and we are the helper of the earth, and we believe in peace and justice, not terrorism and injustices, and we condemn any act of terrorism, as we believe. Bomb does not have an eye to see what is he killing. The 3 innocent people that they were killed in Boston, they were innocent. They didn't do anything as far as we know. You didn't put them on the trial, and we don't know. Bomb does not have an eye. Therefore, any act of terrorism is rejected by Islam. And may Allah inshallah help us and bless us to be what He wants us to be rather than what we want to be. اللهم انصر الاسلام والمسلمين اللهم انصر من نصر الدين وانصر جيوش المسلمين وعساكر الموحدين اللهم انصر اخواننا في كل مكان اللهم اخذل من خذل الدين واخذل الكفار والمنافقين والمستكبرين والمشركين عباد الله ان الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقم الصلاة.
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة والكعبة المنصوبة آت سيدنا محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة والشفاعة والدرجة الرفيعة العالية في الجنة. اللهم شفع محمدا في أمته واحفظنا في زمرته واجعلنا ووالدينا والمؤمنين والمؤمنات من شفعه فيه. وصل اللهم وسلم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واهد بنا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
اللهم بكرامة والصلاة القائمة محمد الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة التي في الجنة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد. إلهي يا Rabbi, we are thankful to you that you brought us to Salat line. You brought us to Masjid. Help us so we will be totally connected to your command and totally disconnected from everything else. Sallu salatam. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu